Okay, I think we're recording. Let's double check. Okay, so we're recording. All right, my name is Professor Hyatt. I'll be your instructor for this semester. If you're watching, obviously at home or at whatever, and doing the online content, we meet every Thursday at this campus from 6:50 to 10 o'clock in B17. That's you already know that. That's in your when you did the sign up and all that stuff, but I'm reiterating it. This is right now the online content. So first we're going to do today is we're going to go over the online content, the syllabus, how I work on Canvas, and then a couple chapters, and then we'll be done. All right. So let's go over the online content for everybody. Um, I am out, by the way, we're going to do more of an introduction on me and my background and you and everything else on Thursday when we're all together. Um, so first things first, the way this online content. So I do want to talk briefly about a background I have is I actually grew up in Fresno, California. I grew up in a poor neighborhood and I worked mostly in poor neighborhoods in education, public library, all that stuff. Some of the poorest communities in California, farm workers, stuff like that. And so when the pandemic happened, and I'm like in Southwest College and these other places by South Central and East LA, I noticed the discrepancy with online access. And so when they give me any kind of online stuff, I'm like, how do I make it, where anybody can join up, right? So for example, my videos I put on YouTube in a way that people can easily find them. It's easy for anyone to just watch them at home. YouTube videos are easier for students who have not the best Wi-Fi and of course not the best computers. Stuff like that. There's little things I do, right? And one of the things I do is what you're seeing now. So if you're at home watching this on your time, this is going to be dropped every Tuesday night after 10 or something like that. And then, oh, this is going the other way. Then the other thing is the other option that you have is, and one of you is doing that right now, is you can join us via Zoom. So you be at home and you want to join. If you don't want to wait for it to go online and you have the time, this is another option. And then the third option is in person. And that I don't have a preference. Me personally, I'm an in-person teacher, but for this course, I'm not going to say you got to do one way or the other. Whatever's best for you. Okay. Some people might like the Zoom or in person because you can ask questions a lot easier. You don't have to wait till Thursday. Maybe you're just more that's the kind of learner you are. I know that this is a class for people who need this like last minute type situations because this is the last one of the last public speaking classes you can join before the summer and graduation and stuff like that. So whatever best for you. Okay. So this is that's the three methods. You can choose one and so forth. I might change the in person and say that maybe request ahead of time because my computer setup is much better over at home for me to record. And also, I don't trust the Wi-Fi. I don't trust the Wi-Fi here. All right, so that's for everybody in the class. That's the three-way we do online content. You can do it from home on your time when I post it Tuesday night, or you can do it here in person or on Zoom when I record on Tuesday nights. Any questions of the people who are here or on Zoom? No?
Yes, I do have one.
Oh, okay, go for it.
Um, so this is, I guess, my first semester with the school. So I'm
Mhm.
just wondering, for my knowledge, because I'm also not really from the area. I'm from the Antelope Valley. Um, so I was just wondering, when I did sign up for this course, I saw that it was on I guess the southern campus. Where is that at? Because I saw that I guess the south campus was closed.
Okay, yeah. So, uh, first off, where's the Antelope Valley from here? Does anyone know?
It's going towards Santa Clarita, and you go from the 5 to the 14.
Oh, it's way up north.
Yes,
So
I'm in the
we
high
are
desert.
we are far south from you. So the
Yes.
Southgate campus is in Southgate, California. I know that sounds like, if you're going down it's off the 710. And so
Okay.
and so if you're taking the 710 down, it's before you hit the 105, right? It's a couple miles from the where you hit the 105. So have you ever
Okay.
traveled south to the airport?
Yes, I'm aware of Southgate and all of those
Yeah.
cities and surrounding areas.
Yeah. And so our Thursday meeting's on the campus. Now, I don't want to get started on this, maybe in person. I don't want to record my opinion. But they know because I complain all the time. The Southgate campus is currently under construction. So we have a temporary campus attached to Southgate High School. So
Okay.
that's why it says it's closed, but we're open because we're the satellite campus attached to Southgate High School.
Got it. Thank you.
No
I
problem.
just wanted to verify and so that way I know where to go on Thursday.
Not a problem. I highly recommend for the Thursday meeting if you can leave before around 3 o'clock is when the traffic gets really bad.
Yes.
So just FYI. And by the way, Southgate's awesome. This is my favorite Walmart, by the way. I love the Southgate Walmart because it's where East LA and South Central meet. So lots to do down here and all that good stuff. All right. Any other questions about the online content or the Thursday class? All right. For those who are watching this online, obviously wait till Thursday in person, or you can message me through Canvas. The best way, I'm going to say this right now, I do this in my introduction. The best way to contact me is through Canvas, not my email. My email is a giant flaming trash can, dumpster, actually, because I worked at so many different campuses. And so I get emails from everybody. So Canvas, 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 Canvas. All right. All right. That's excellent. You guys are doing great. And this is helping me with content for the people who have to chime in tonight. We're going to go over the class and how I run it through Canvas first before we go over the syllabus. And you guys are lucky. We actually already have your syllabus up. So the way it works is this is actually not an online class I'm showing you, but it's the same thing. Again, my whole thing about online or any of my classes is I understand that there's lots of variation of internet, computer knowledge, and access. So I am bare minimum. So when you go into my Canvas and you log in, the first thing you see is the homepage. It's the activity feed. This is a past class. So the activity feed is dead because it's gone. But I think anytime I post an announcement or discussion or assignment, it will pop up on the stream. It'll be like okay, what's coming up next? All right. And then you probably already seen it because it popped up for you. I use announcements. And so anything that's important, I need to get out there. Like you can see here in the past class, the grade schedule, final instructions, speech three, and all that good stuff. That's in announcements. All right. Again, bare minimum. Assignments. This is where you get assignments. It's an online hybrid course. So every submission is done online except for your speech, which is in person on our Thursday meetings, but everything else is turned in online. Which and you're out and your tests are also online. But the one thing I want you to notice, you notice if you look at the screen for you guys up here, you'll notice there is a ton of assignments, right? I don't post them all at once. What I do is I post them as we go along. So when you come to class on Thursday, the first assignments will be posted, speech one, evaluation, outline one, and all that stuff. So whatever's next. And so in my experience, students who see all that stuff, they get a little intimidated. I even tried it one semester. I was like, oh, I'll post everything and see how it goes. And I had more drops. So by moving along at that pace, I find more students stay engaged. So If you want the whole, schedule, you can always go to the syllabus, which I'll get to in a second. This one is more important than a regular class. Our online work is in discussions. All right, our online post. This is a regular class, so you don't see that here, but you've already saw the discussions, correct? Correct? Yeah, a little bit. So you can see the online content, and it will be titled week 1, week 2, and so forth. We're an 8-week class, but here's the rub. It's actually a 16-week class, just 16 weeks made into 8 weeks. So essentially, you're doing 2 weeks of work every week, which is doable. It's not my first time teaching this kind of class. All right. It's actually pretty exciting. You get through this and it's easier. I think it's actually easier in a way because it's like you get your accomplishments quicker. But you need to know this is 2 weeks of work in 1 week. I mean, this is for the online, not for the Zoom person. This is for the online content people. So be aware of that. This is a 2 week. This is still 16-week course, but put into so Tuesday online content is a week of work. You're gonna hear me opening something. It's water. It's not. It's not what you think.
Oh, I thought it was a Red Bull.
No. I might need energy. Let me know if I need energy. I'm never buying these again from Aldi. Oh my gosh. I'm an Aldi fan, but for some reason these are not like best. All right. So online work, and then also when you sign up for speeches, extra credit, any kind of work you do online that's not an assignment is done in discussions. Is that pretty clear? Is that we're good there?
Yes, sir.
There we go. Question. For the speeches, that's going to be in person. It's going to be in person. Yes. Yes. And they should always be in person. We have asynchronistic courses, and I don't like how they do them. I'm not gonna lie. Asynchronistic courses, they have them find 5 people, and you have to do the speech in front of them. Who are you gonna find? You're gonna find your friends and your family, and they're judgmental pricks. Oh, can I say pricks? It's okay.
It's
Uh,
okay. I
it's
like
okay.
to cuss. Cussing is cleansing.
Well, no, no, no. I don't cuss in class. Driving, yes, all the time. But the thing is, so I personally, when I taught asynchronistic and we did online, they had to post it on YouTube, and that gave enough anxiety as doing it in front of people, posting it on YouTube, even though people didn't find the speeches. There's way to hide videos on YouTube. All right, enough of that. Discussions, online work is there. Grades are grades. I use pages. You don't see it yet because nothing's posted there, but this is where, well, I met somebody else. This is where I post, um, I post the study guides for your midterm and final. By the way, the midterm and final are online and they're open book, and you do it on your time. You don't have to be here in person. In fact, I won't be here. Um, but you can do it from home. But I am going to allot a certain time for it to be done. We might do it on Thursday and just I haven't decided yet. All right. So pages is just a study guide. And last but not least, again, because I only use the bare minimum, these little things on the left. I don't, there's a whole lot of them I could do. Has any of you taken, anyone who's here or online, you can just give me a reaction, a thumbs up. Has anyone ever, or say yes in the chat, has anyone taken an online course before? Right? A couple of you. All right. The one thing you're going to notice right away is I don't like modules. I don't do the bells and whistles. My tests are, you don't have to be on camera to take my tests. I don't do that stuff because, again, there's certain levels of students' accessibility and so forth. And so by doing it that way, thank you for the response. By doing it that way, we eliminate a lot of the I'm gonna minimize this. There we go. We minimize a lot of the issues with students and accessibility and so forth. So that's the way I go. And it's true because I was evaluated and my department chair couldn't find my syllabus, but everyone in my class on that question, could you find the syllabus easy? They said yes. Because all the important documents are in files. We're in files right now. So if you look up on the screen for those people in person, at home, and with online or Zoom, you can see all the documents that are important for this class are all in one place. The syllabus will be there, the outline that you use for the all three speeches, the evaluation forms that you use, they're all there. They're all in the same place. So that's how accessible and easy it is. All right. And last but not least, I already mentioned it. I'll mention it again before I go over the syllabus. The inbox over here on the far left side where I put the little finger thing right there. That's how to contact me. Message me through Canvas. That's the best way because, like I said, my email is a burning dumpster with emails from Mission, Pierce, Southwest, West, Trade Tech, and of course, LA Community College District. Surprisingly, not that much from ELAC. Don't know why. But yeah, so yeah, best way to contact me for students is inbox. Don't email me. Well, I'm not supposed to say that, but really don't email me. Message me through the inbox. Any questions on how I run campus? Yeah, if you're on Zoom and you want to message, use the chat, you can use that as well. Any questions on how I run Canvas? All right. If you're watching this online, the online content, save it for Thursday's class. All right, let's go over your class's syllabus. I'm going to get out of student view, get to your class. No, wait, I want that. No, I don't want that. Where is my stupid? There it is. All right. See, this is what I was worried about. It's going to be slow. Okay. Oh, by the way, when you take the class in person and Zoom, we're going to take breaks. So don't worry, we're going to take breaks and I'll pause the recording. All right. So this is your class. As you can see, bare minimum. You already have an announcement and discussion, so you can see the feed works. But we're going to go into files. Again, all the important documents are in files, right? And right there, your syllabus is actually up. I usually don't have the syllabus up on day one because I like to talk to you students before I do that. But because, oh, by the way, you guys have an extra document, which is the instructions for online content, which I posted, right? Or the online class. Okay, so I'm going to go to the syllabus. You can get it for the PDF or the doc version. And we're going to go through the syllabus right now. This is the boring, blah, blah, blah stuff. All right. So there's the technical stuff where we're at, where we meet on Thursday, Bungalow 17. It's an online class in which is done on Tuesdays, either online only, in person, or Zoom meeting. And you can see the instructions there. There it is, best online contact. My email is up there. Again, I would not use it. Course description is something we have to say, blah, blah, blah. Requirements. I do have a textbook. The textbook is the best. I've used tons of textbooks for this class, well, in other places, but I found the best one, which is hidden underneath some text, which is this thing right here. A concise public speaking handbook. Oh yeah, that's right. Oh wait, I minimized the screen. So this is you guys here. Um, nope. There you go. Yep, there's the camera right there. Public speaking handbook. All right. Anyways, um, that's actually an old edition. They have a sixth edition now. I don't care. If you find a third, fourth edition, they've had in the past a free PDF. If you type in the concise public speaking handbook and then put the letters PDF afterwards, students have found a PDF. So lots of different ways to get it. If you spend more than $20 on this book, spend more than $20 on this book, you're spending too much money. All right. Excuse me. I've had students get third edition books for like a dollar something. So yeah, I've actually been thinking about having a reclamation program where anyone who wants to donate their books to me, I can then pass them, get good karma. That's the trade in. Good karma. So Concise Public Speaking Handbook is the book. Doesn't matter the edition. Access to an online account, which is obvious since you're in this class. The one thing that's a requirement that students don't understand why it's a requirement is the 4x6 cards. 4x6 cards. Here they are right here. You can get them, get the line ones. All right. Walmart and Southgate has these color ones. Most of the time they sell them in the white card version. Either way, it's perfectly fine, but you must have them because when you give your speeches, that's the only thing you can take up there. You can't take your phone. You can't take your outline. You can take your cards. I'll teach you how to use your cards later. Okay. But 4x6 cards. Staples, Amazon, and all those places, they all have them. I I always recommend students print the syllabus. I always recommend that because when you need to get quick information, you don't have to log in and log out. It's in your room somewhere, right? I always tell students to print it up and then make a binder for this class this semester, right? If you are printing any of the pages, you don't have to print all 4 pages. I would print page 1 and page 4. Page 4, we'll get to that eventually. But page 1 has this right here, what you're seeing in front of you, right up here up on the screen. And it's a way for you to keep track of your grades with your points as it goes along. All right. So this is a little quick help thing for you. Okay. And it also, so I don't get how many points do I need to get an A? Ooh, the answer's right here. Don't message me on that. All right. FYI for, well, I'll get to that later. All right. We're going to go over the assignments now. I wonder if I can make this bigger. Oh, I can. Oh, cool. All right. We're going to go to the assignments. In this class, we have 3 projects. There are speeches. The reason why I call them projects is that each of them is a speech, an outline, and an evaluation. So let's go over the projects. There's the special interest speech, which is your first speech. Super easy speech. It's about you and where you want to head off into your future. Right? Pretty easy speech. The second speech is an informative speech. You get to choose the topic and talk about it in a neutral way. And the third speech is you're going to talk about a social issue, a social problem, and give us a solution. That's it. Pretty simple stuff. Okay. By the way, if you have questions while I'm talking here, please, raise your hand or message me in the chat and I'll answer them. And so forth. Okay. So yeah, so those are speeches. Each of those speeches, if you keep going down, you'll see there's an outline. The outline is 15 points. The outline is found in files where the important documents are found. It's the same outline for all 3 speeches. Pretty simple stuff. The speech evaluation, it's 10 of the easiest points you can do. You just have to evaluate 1 student per speech and answer some questions. That's it. And they don't see your evaluation. Only I do. All right. There's a midterm, there's a final. The final is not comprehensive. It's divided into the first half, the second half. That's it. All right. So the final is not that scary. Let's see. And you get bonus points for doing it the day of the final. Let's see. Midterm final. Yeah. Pretty easy so far. And it's open book. It's online, it's open book. The last thing is participation. So your grade is divided into 500 points. 500 points. Um, 1/5 of them is participation points. That's how I take attendance. You show up to class on Thursday, or you do your work online or in person or on Zoom, and yeah, you get participation points. And the reason why you want to do that is because um, it's like the easiest way to get a better grade. So let me explain that for everybody. Online content people, Zoom people, and in person. I have a reputation for being the easy professor for public speaking. I do. Did anyone do the rate my professor? Don't lie. No, I'm just kidding. But I have that rep. Like when I'm on campus and they offer my class during the day, it's always 40 students who sign up. And and I know my reputation, but at the same time, I'm very proud of the fact that I help students develop as communicators. But one of the reasons why my class is considered easy is if you show up every class, either online in Zoom or in person, and then show up obviously for Thursday, whatever, however works for you. If you do the work and the participation points wise, you'll get a better grade than you deserve. So if you do all the participation and you do B level work, you'll probably get an A. If you do C level work, but you do all the participation, you'll get a B, right? But at the same time, it's an easy way to drop your grade. So if you do B level work, but you don't show up, you don't participate, or you don't do the online, because I know what's going to happen. I guarantee you there will be students on here who show up on Thursday, but they don't do the online work at all. They don't do the online content. They don't do it on their own time in Zoom or um, in person. And so they're going to have low participation points, and they're going to probably get a worse grade. So participation points is like the easiest way to get a better grade. That's it. There's extra credit, but that don't bank on extra credit. It's only really useful for the people who are close to the next grade. Any questions on the assignments that I mentioned? Nope. It's like 4 people. This is super casual. Checking. I'm using this as my clock. All right. We're gonna move on. We're gonna continue. This again, this is the boring class, the first class. Classroom policy, attendance. That's on you. You're here today. Woohoo! I'll get everyone's name here today and so forth, and then I'll see who shows up on do the online content. But definitely Thursday is required. All right. Actually, I'll wait till Thursday to get everyone's information. But Thursday is definitely required for attendance. If you don't show up on Thursday, I have the right to drop you. But after that happens, you're on your own, meaning that if you show up or not, I'm not going to babysit you. One of the problems I have with public education is they hold students' hands too much, right? They're like, hey Johnny, why aren't you showing up to class? This is college. You're adults. I'm going to treat you like I'm your employer or manager. And I can't fire you, but I can drop you. All right. Anyways, so it's on you. All right. And never, by the way, this is for everybody. Never rely on your professor to drop you. If something happens and you stop attending, don't assume that your professor is going to do the right thing or the correct thing because they don't have to. We don't have to. All we have to do is do one report, which is at the very beginning. And then after that, it's our discretion. And most of the time, professors don't care. I'm not going to lie to you. So always be in charge of your drops. Do not rely on anybody else to drop you. Okay? think that's so. Yeah, I'm supposed to drop you if you don't show up for a couple weeks of work, which is essentially 3 classes. But at the same time, I do have a drop threshold, but I'm not going to disclose that to you guys. All right. So yeah, you're in charge of your attendance. And by the way, if you're going to miss a regular class that's not a speech day, you don't have to message me. We're gonna survive without you. All right. Just message me only on days because here's the thing. Um, you can lose points on your speech or something else if it's unexcused. All right. So especially on your speeches. Okay. Especially if you're assigned a speech day. We should have. I looked at this. I looked at the thing. I think quite a bit of the students who are signed up might be bots, bots. Um, and so, yeah, I think we only need 1 day to do all the speeches. The first speech, and then a day for the second. You know what I mean. Assignment policy. Turn it in. I don't really. I'm not a stickler about late work, but I do if it gets really late. I do, still have the right to mark you down for it being really late. Turn in because the more you turn it in on time, the more likely you're going to get feedback and so forth. And I'll be honest, the way it works, the more you put off an assignment, the less likely you're going to do it. I had my first speeches in my regular class about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and there are still students who need to make it up, and speeches are next week. They're not going to do it, guaranteed. So this is for everybody. The more you put it off, the more likely you're not going to get it done. Let's see. Any questions so far before I get into the social contract? No. All right. The next thing has to do with more the in-person class on Thursday, but it does also pertain to us because the online content, even if you're not in person or on Zoom, you still interact with each other when you are posting your participation online. And so this is still needed for even the social contract. So first things first on that one, don't be a jerk. That's rule number one. Don't be a jerk. Super easy. Don't be a jerk. I could tell you, oh, it's for the greater good or respect others. Nah, just don't be a jerk. That's a good rule of thumb. Don't be a jerk. And you should be understanding and inclusive towards other people because you're more likely to connect with others. You're more likely to network. And it's best for you. Forget about everybody else. It's best for you to be inclusive because it benefits you so much. So don't be a jerk. Don't be rude to others and so forth. All right. Also, be aware of, let's see, yeah, don't be a jerk. When we do speeches, don't walk in on students speaking. Let's see, what else is there? The cell phone use when we're in class. The one thing I always, and this is for every student, no matter what, I don't understand why people are disrespectful to the people in charge of their grades. So when I see students on their cell phones, I'm like, if they come up to me at the end of the semester and say, "Hey, Professor Hyatt, I need more. Can you have some consideration?" and they're on their cell phones all the time, I'm gonna do this. What was that? What was it? What was that? If you're not seeing me on the camera, I'm looking at my phone here. I'll do this. I do this to them. What was that? You want me to do what again? So yeah, don't be disrespectful to people in charge of your grade. I said that in front of high school teachers one time, and they looked at me and I've said it in front of high school teachers a bunch, and they always look at me going, "We could tell them that." Being honest. All right, I don't care if you have to walk out to use the restroom when we're in person. We're adults here. All that good stuff. Let's see. Oh, on campus for any of your classes on Southgate campus, make sure you clean up after yourself. This is a bungalow, so we don't want to attract stuff. So that's for the Thursday class. Let's see. I think that's everything. Don't be a jerk. Be inclusive because it helps you. Academic honesty. Don't cheat. Don't plagiarize. You'll get caught. You'll get caught. It's easy to catch people. We have programs for that. I actually teach other professors how to catch cheaters and plagiarize, and it's not good. I'll be perfectly honest. The first 2 years of college. How many in the chat and then also in front of me? How many of you are planning to transfer to a 4 year? You certification? Yeah. All right. In the chat, any of you going the 4 year?
Yes.
All right. Cool, cool, cool. All right. So the reason why I bring that up is the first 2 years of college is considered lower division or lower division. And they don't really catch plagiarism as much, or they don't care about it as much as others. Because what happens is eventually catch us up to you. It's one of the weirdest things, but this happens in every 4 year college. People who plagiarize who don't get caught, they hit that third or fourth year of college and they can't graduate because the last year of college is more in person. Like you have to write the essays in front of people, and they just don't have the merit. They don't have the ability to do it. And even for those people who are getting certifications and you have to take some kind of test, or the last class is the class that's most important. If you don't have the ability to do that, then you're not going to pass it. So you should be academic honest because not just because it's the right thing to do, but because you want to pass this stuff. And you're not going to if you lose. And by the way, AI sucks. AI sucks. Oh yeah. I gotta make sure I'm on camera so people see it. AI sucks. AI sucks. And the reason why it sucks is pretty simple. It takes away a skill set. So you're gonna be less of a writer. You're gonna have less comprehension. You're gonna have not have that skill anymore, and so forth. So depending on technology, you start losing skill sets. So again, and there's ways I catch AI and plagiarism all the time. I just they lose points with me. That's all they do. All right, don't do it. We'll talk about plagiarism more because it's part of this class. A student with special needs, don't rely on the office message. Talk to me, especially in person. So if any students who are watching this online or with me now here or in Zoom on Thursday during one of our breaks or after class or before class, if you're one of these special needs students, let me know. Don't rely on the office to contact me, okay? Methods and instructions, don't care about it. It's a way for us to get technical. Online component, I said that you find the instructions for online classes and files, which you will. It's on there. I already covered it already. All right, here we go. This is our schedule. Right? Let's look up on the screen. Look up on the right now. You'll notice that the numbers repeat because that indicates the week that we're in. All right. So online component is done on the Tuesday or it's posted on the Tuesday. If you're doing it online only, you do it whenever. And then the in-person is on the Thursday. All right. And you can see how it switches off online, campus, and so forth. All right. Anything that's due is in bold letters, right? The midterm, the outline, the speech, the evaluation, all that stuff is in bold. All right. If there is one page to print, this would be the page. This is the best. I'd say you need to print this. All right. And have it on your wall and check it off. Done. Done. Right. This is it. And you notice it's still 16 slots, just like if this was a regular class, which is 16 weeks. Still 16 weeks of work, but put into a smaller package. All right. It might be more intense, but to me, it's more rewarding at the same time because you're like, hey, I'm gonna get done. I do want to point out at the very bottom, week 8, you notice the online and the campus switches off. All right. We'll talk about that more later when we get closer to it. And we're going to have a class vote. But something tells me you guys would rather get the speeches out of the way first. It matters if everyone's willing to come in on a Tuesday instead of a Thursday. But that's for later down the line. I just want to put it in your head. Is there any questions on the schedule at all? If you're in Zoom and you want to message me through chat, you can do that. Yes.
Evaluations as well in person with the speeches.
Well, you can fill it out there, or a lot of times students just remember one student's speeches and they do it at home. But the forms will be found in files. Oh, I call them prompts. The prompts are found in files, and you evaluate one student because everyone. And by the way, FYI on the speeches, your first speech, it's only a few students because we do it in sessions. So everyone has to go outside, and then I call in like 5 students. They do their speeches, and then they go home. And then the next 5 come in, and then they go home. So yeah, so there's less anxiety that way. And we usually get done really early on speech days, which is what you guys want to hear. Any other questions? No? All right. So what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to get out of share. All right. Hello, folks. And I am going to pause the recording. I really don't like the new setup. Pause recording. Yeah, recording. All right. Welcome back to class. We're going to talk about your first speech, and we're going to do our first participation with this. I'm going to go into another screen because I want to share a screen. It's not pertaining to your speech, but I'm going to go into it anyways. Um, I don't think it's doing this. All right, hold on a second. Okay. All right. Let's see. Oh, maybe if I do share. Okay, share. Okay. Sorry, guys. It's taking me a moment. People online are riveted right now. They're watching this at home. They're like, "Oh, this guy is not no bueno." By the way, I love the phrase "no bueno." It's awesome. All right, I think this will work. Let's see if this works. No, it did not. All right, it's good enough. All right, it doesn't matter. Okay, you can see my application. What is going on? I got to get out of this again. I'm sorry, folks. This is disastrous. Okay. All right. It's still recording. Still recording my disasters. Actually, we'll go back to this. We'll go back to the screen. We'll go into another class so we can talk about your first speech. This is my morning class. We're going to go into their assignment. All right. Anyways, so your first speech is about you. Your first speech is you talking about your journey to wherever you want to go. So the thing about public speaking, or actually any kind of speaking, is you're telling a story. It's story time. I was telling a story during the break, right? And what I mean by telling a story is you are Your story that you're telling is your journey to wherever you're going to end up, right? Wherever you're going to end up. And so in your journey, you go from past, present, future. Past, present, future, right? You start off um you start off like in your childhood, and then your present right now is your education, and then your future is your where you're going to end up 10 years after your degree is done. So even if you become a doctor and being a doctor will take you another 8 years of education, your future will be 10 years after your education is done. All right. So your future is not transferring to another school. 10 years after your education journey ends. That's the story that you're telling, because in your main points, that's what you're doing. So what do I mean by this? Imagine your story like this. So let me get to, actually, I'm going to get out of stop share. We're going to speaker. Why? No. Why? I don't want, not, no, not that one. All right. Sorry, I'm just trying to fix something here. Ah, there we go. All right. Yay. Okay, so I'm recording this. All right, we'll go to full screen. Okay, so oh look, there's me. There's my persona. All right, my break self. This is my eraser, my dry eraser without the eraser part. Oh. We're high tech here. All right, all right. So imagine this. This is you talking about your journey, right? I'm here. I'm going to tell you my journey to becoming. Hold on. Let's get some examples. What do you want to be? You have no idea yet. You got to choose one. What do you want to be? Pediatric nurse. All right. In the chat, if you want to tell me what you want to be, or if you want to say it out loud.
Um, I'd like to work for the US government.
There you go. Whoa, what part of the U.S. government?
Uh, as a protocol officer.
Wait, what? Military?
I am prior military, army.
Oh, oh.
Um,
Don't worry, I won't use that
and
against you.
I mean, I'm just glad that I didn't eat crayons, but
Hey.
um, but protocol is just assisting with distinguished visitors, as in colonels and above,
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4 star generals. So
Like a special event type person.
yes.
Oh, I gotta work on my tan. What is this? Is what happens when you wear glasses, folks. Get these weird tan lines. Oh my gosh. Ooh. All right. Anyways, okay. So imagine what you want to be, right? And if you were going to do, this is what the participation is for today. All right. You're going to tell your journey. Um, so your childhood, but you're not going to say childhood. I mean, you can say childhood, but think about a key word from your childhood, right? Or maybe two keywords. So, like for me, my neighborhood, I grew up in a rough neighborhood, right? By the way, I misspell all the time, right? And then you think about what you are doing for your present. Now, when I was in high school, I used my high school ambitions for the speech. I wanted to be a film director in high school. My two passions were politics and photography. Politics won. I don't want to talk about it. but that was my two passions. And I love film and so forth. I grew up in a rough neighborhood. Movies were escapism. And so surprisingly enough, you can get a film degree, right? So getting my film degree would have been my second part of my journey, right? I'm gonna switch to the black. All right. And then my last thing is where I see myself 10 years after my degree. And that would be the industry. So if I was telling a story, and we're going to cover the outline on Thursday, this would be my journey. It started off in my neighborhood where we would escape with movies. Then I would be going to film school for my degree, and then finally myself in the film industry. This is my end up, right? This is my story. So what you're going to do for today's participation is in person and on Zoom. Oh, you can't hear me anymore. Um, was that? I'm not on mute on
I
my.
don't, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You can't hear me.
Um, yeah, it literally just cut out for me, so I have no idea what you said for like the past
But but
minute.
can but can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay. Okay, Anthony can hear. But Giselle, can
Uh,
you hear me now?
no, I still can't
Maybe turn
hear.
off
I
your.
think I might have to leave the chat and then come back in.
Okay, well, have you try turning off your try muting yourself and see if you can hear me, and then type if you can hear me or not. So can't okay. Yeah, just mute your mic and see if you can still hear me. Can you still hear me after you mute your mic? Okay. Oh, she took off. All right. So maybe she'll come back. Okay. So, anyways, what you're gonna do right now in person or in um um in the Zoom meeting, you're gonna come up with this yourself. You know, a piece of scratch paper or whatever. Those three words, that journey. You're gonna come up with that journey for yourself. So I'll give you a minute or so. Some of you probably are on it. Now, if you're watching this online, for the online content for today when it gets posted later. What you're going to do in your replies, you're going to do two replies today, two participations. The first one is this one. And in your reply, you're going to do on one single line, you're going to do the first word, then arrows, second word, arrows, and then where it ends up. You're going to show the journey in one line. So instead of this way, vertical, you're going to do it horizontally. I'll put an example. Just FYI, when you do it online, you don't see anybody else's replies until you post yours. And remember, there's two of them, so you might want to do it on a separate piece of paper so that way you can post both of them at the same time. Okay? So right now in class, in person or on Zoom, go ahead and do that.
We're doing it on a separate doc.
No, I mean you can do it on a piece of scratch paper.
I'm so sorry.
Or you can put it on a doc. You're not submitting it. You're just gonna you guys are gonna say it out loud.
Oh, okay.
You're gonna say it out loud. All right. And then in Zoom you can say it out loud too. So do you have your journey ready? Your three words? Okay. Let me know in Zoom when one of you are ready. So again, while you guys are working, the first word is like your from your childhood, child to middle year school years, not high school. Even if you're a returning student, not high school. So childhood, the starting point, what you're doing now for your education. And your education is from freshman year to when you graduate, whatever degrees you need. And then finally the industry, for me, this is me in my field. Like if I was my father who was a carpenter, it would be like construction instead of industry. right?
The middle is what we're working for now.
The present, past, present, future. See how this works? Fun fact, if it was my brother, first off, if it was my brother, this part would be a complete mess. Complete mess. Uh, he's a business owner. Mortuary transport. That was nice.
It is. Businesses are cool.
Yeah, he picks up the dead. Mortuary transport.
That's someone's dream.
Well, you know what? I'm actually not surprised that that is. Ooh, let me see. What? It's supposed to have a magnet. Here. All right. All right. So for those who are watching this at home, they're working on it right now. They can give you some examples. And again, I would highly recommend you write it on a separate piece of paper. So when you do the second participation, you could do it all in one reply. And again, yours is going to be horizontal, not vertical like this. So neighborhood, arrow, 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 degree, arrow, industry, whatever your keywords. And again, don't do past, present, future because everyone does that. Everyone sounds the same. Use your own words. All right. Any of you ready?
Yeah.
All right. What's your first part in your journey? What word?
Health issues.
Health. Yeah, I'll just say health. Yeah, health. Second word, degree. You want to be a nurse, right?
Yeah.
It's like for some folks, it might be certification and so forth. All right, and you said pediatrics, right? So that's your three things. You'd be um, um, health, degree, and then pediatrics. Right? Do you have your three words? What do you want to be? Oh, that's right. You haven't decided yet. So this is for everyone online as well. It's not etched in stone. So whatever you do for this speech, I'm not going to track you down in 15 years and go, why didn't you do what you said in your speech? So just pick something because you got to tell a journey. It has to have an end point. So think about possibilities. Let's go to the Zoom. Does any of the Zoom have an example?
Yes.
What's your starting point?
Starting point is family.
Yeah.
The second one is degree,
Mhm.
and the last one is government.
Government, because you want to be a protocol. And then you were in the military, correct?
Yes.
So that can actually be part of this as well in the middle because it's part of your educational journey, especially if you want to be a protocol officer.
Yes, sir.
I know what you're talking about. I worked with VIPs in my political time. So I worked with the White House Travel Office. Ooh, name dropping. The answer is Clinton. I worked with Clinton's White House Travel Office. Because I'm old. So yeah, so there you go. That's the thing. Anthony, can you talk or can you give me your three words in the chat?
Yeah, no problem. I just had a bit of an issue with the first one.
Okay, what do you want to be? Let's go start here.
Well, to be honest, I already have the job that I want.
What
It's
is the
more
job you
just
want?
so I'm a project manager for construction. So I'm just trying to go back and just, I guess it's more of a just to complete my certifications.
Well, yeah, I know I completely understand that. Like I said, my dad was in construction, and so forth. I completely understand, especially I always tell high school students about how you need proof now. You can't just say I can do stuff. You need like a certification and the stuff. So yeah, so you would be like the construction industry. You would be certifications here. Just think about when you were a kid. Did you play with Tonka trucks, Legos? What was the thing that maybe got you started?
Got me started. Well, originally I wanted to be a firefighter, so it was definitely a fire truck.
Well, there you go. And then, and I'm sure there's other things too. If I did the construction route, and for me, it might have been when I was tagging along with my dad to the work sites during summer vacation.
Mm,
My dad to the work sites. So there's lots of things. So think about like a keyword that maybe got you started on this journey. Okay.
gotcha. Yeah.
All right. Do you have one? Well, we know education is right here, right? You want a 4-year. What is your 4-year going to be in? What?
Maybe something.
STEM. All right. So science, math, tech, that kind of stuff. So what was back here? Were you a good tech person? Uh,
More artsy.
you're more arty?
Yeah, like more English.
There's nothing, there was no bio class or something that you
There
started?
was, but
Like I used to watch this old TV show when I was a little kid. It was on repeat. It's called Mr. Wizard. Yeah. So maybe it was Bill Nye the Science Guy for you. Okay, health, education, and then whatever you decide to do for your because you haven't decided yet. All right.
yeah.
Okay. Giselle, did you have a starting point for yours?
Yes, it was a family.
That's right. Okay. So there you go. And so online, do the participation. Like I said, I would wait to post it when we do the other one later. All right. Enough of that. Let's get we're gonna go into the chapters. I'm gonna just cover a couple quick chapters, okay? Get this done. Woo. Yes.
For us, participation points. Would we also post them?
No, I have names and so forth and so forth. But don't worry, I'll reveal something on Thursday night about the participation points for this week. Let's just say you guys are doing a great service to everybody for participating, and we'll see how many people because it's group. The first week is always group. Actually, technically the first 2 weeks because it's 2 weeks in 1 week. All right, so let's try to do this again and not me mess up. All right, we're going to go to share. And I think that is not what I want. Stop share. Try this again. Try this one. It is not work. Oh, wait. I think the problem is this. The projector. So I'm gonna freeze. I think I can get away with freezing this. Can I? Yes, I can. I'm gonna freeze this. Right? Then I'm trying to outsmart my computer. And disconnect. All right. This is riveting for people who are watching online. They're like, oh my gosh, I love seeing the old man mess with tech. This is awesome. I think I got it. I got it. Yes. All right. Woohoo. All right. So chapter 1 and 2 is the beginning of public speaking. All right. The beginning of public speaking. And it's very quick chapters. In fact, all the terms are from chapter 1. You'll notice on the screen, all the terms are on top. And the reason why is most of your test questions in the midterm and finals are terms. Okay. And I will actually tell you which terms will be on the test. So it's like super easy. This class is super easy. Okay. And then at the bottom is some key points for the chapters. So let's go over the terms real quick. This is going to be real quick. I'm going to go over chapter 1 and 2, and we'll start with 3 on Thursday. Public speaking, anytime you speak in front of people, it's pretty easy, simple instructions. But the most important thing about the public, first off, that's not on the test, but it's when you doing effective, it's about strategies for effective listening and your effective delivery and also critical listening. So to be a good public speaker, it's not just your delivery, you also have to be a good listener. It's required. Again, this is not going to be on the test. Empowerment, it's that feeling you get when you do a speech. Like, I got this, right? It's not on the test, but you should just know. Declamation, anytime someone does a famous speech. So if someone does the MLK Jr. I Have a Dream speech, that's a declamation. And elocution, that's your style. That's you demonstrating your expression, your emotion, the posture you have, the movement. That's you just giving off your vibe. Right? All 4 of these terms are good to know, but they're not on the test. So what's on the test? Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, source. Now, before we continue, there's going to be a lot of words that you hear that you already know, but now you're taking it and putting it into public speaking. So let me ask you in Zoom and also in person, what pops in your head when you think of source? What words pop in your head? You don't have to raise your hand, just say it out loud.
The news.
The news, date, author, where you get it from, right? Could be the television, it could be from the internet. And it's not just information, source can be electrical source, your power source, your source of water, right? Here, who do you think is the source in public speaking? The what? No. I'm in public speaking. Who's the source? Yeah, the speaker. The speaker is the source. So obviously, if I'm going to jump a couple words, what pops in your head when you hear the word receiver? A listener, right? Any other words pop in your head? What? Oh no, we're not talking public speaking in general. Outside of public speaking. Sports, yeah, guys, it's always the receiver, right? By the way, the greatest football receiver of all time is Randy Moss. If he didn't mess up his decision making. And then also, if you're old school like me, the receiver, we used to call the phone. We had landline. I got talking the receiver. That's right. So in this case, who's the receiver in public speaking? The audience. That's the source, the speaker, and the receiver. That's the audience. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. That's something that could be on the test. Here's another thing I want to ask you guys. What do you think of when you hear the word code? Anybody? When you hear the word code. If you're at home and you don't want to go on voice, you can put it in the chat and I'll read it out loud. What pops in your head when you think of the word code? What? Computers, yeah. Computer code, right? There's a certain type of movie that covers code all the time. Certain type of movie. Usually stars Tom Cruise. Yeah, what kind of movies are those?
Action?
They're action and they also deal with who? What kind of job?
I'm so sorry.
Spies. So sometimes when you think of code, you also think of breaking code, code breakers, so forth, stuff like that. James Bond, cracking the code. And here, that's what it is. Code. By the way, I always look at the book to give you definitions to show that it is from the book. Code is like the verbal and nonverbal symbols. So when you are talking in code, you are talking about the speaker creating code for the audience. In code, hint, hint, nudge, nudge. That means it's going to be on the test. Is when you, the speaker, make decisions on how you're going to present your information, right? And then decode is how the audience receives that code and breaks it down themselves, right? This has to deal with the message, which is what is coming out of the speaker's mouth. The speech itself is the message. But how you present it with your verbals and nonverbals, your choices is you encoding your message and then your audience decodes it. Let me give you an example. All right. So I go to all these schools. I've been into the top of the San Fernando Valley when it comes to high schools, right? Either through the colleges or through being a sub for LA Unified and so forth. I've been to the top of North San Fernando Valley. I've been all the way west to Canoga Park. I've been as far south as where's Southwest Campus at? Where's SoFi Stadium? What area is that? Inglewood?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yes, it's
South
Inglewood.
Inglewood. What was that?
I was gonna say, yeah, it's an Inglewood.
Yeah,
Sorry,
Inglewood.
not
Well,
Eaglewood.
good. So yeah, so I've been all around in all these different schools, East LA, South Central, downtown, all these different schools through my travels in LA and through my work in LA. And when I talk to students about being from the hood, do you think they believe me?
No.
No, no, they don't. But I am. I'm from the hood. You'll when I do my formal intro on Thursday, you're gonna hear me talk about it. I'm from Fresno. I grew up in the barrio in Fresno, California, right? And students don't believe me. So what I have to do is when I talk about it, I tell them little stories or I say little phrases that they click on, right? Like I talk about the fact that in my neighborhood growing up, the only people that really had to deal with the gang issue is the people who participated with them, the people who, hung around with them. Those are the people who had to deal with the gangs the most. If you stay outside of it, they don't, you didn't have as much of an issue. Or what was the other thing? I talked like, the bad drug deal that went down in front of my house, and my mom went outside to tell them that she called the cops, and we're yelling at my mom, get back in. Don't tell them we're the ones who called. Right. And as soon as we'd be like, yeah, I would tell my mom that too. Right. I would say things that are true, by the way, true, that it would encode, right? They would recognize that. And so that is what decisions you make. So encode is what you do to send out your message, and decode is what they do when they receive it. All right. Channels. Channels. What pops in your head when you hear the word channels?
TV or the radio.
TV or the radio, right? There's another one that not many people talk about. It's water, because before they were canals, they were called channels. All right. So channels is how things come across. And there's two channels. All right. In your book, and this is important, hint, hint, nudge, nudge. If it's on the test, these are the two channels. There's auditory, which is your words, and then there's visual, which is your body language, maybe a PowerPoint, how you dress, and so forth. Eye contact. So there's two ways, there's two channels to send your message across, and that is through verbal and nonverbal. All right, verbal and nonverbal. Your book used auditory and visual. That's what would be on the test. Throughout the semester, you're going to hear me say verbal and nonverbal. All right. There are sometimes these things that are blocking your concentration, and they're called noise. Noise. And there's two kinds of noise. All right. There's external and internal. External is pretty easy to understand. It's the outside noise, right? Car alarm goes off, dog barking, birds chirping, AC is loud. This is external noise. Internal noise is a noise that can distract you inside of you. There's two types. What are the two types? Think about it at the top of your head. What are the two types of internal noise that could block you from concentrating on your speech? Your thoughts. So that's psychological. Psychological. So your thoughts, your doubts, anxiety, stuff like that. The other one is there's another one. There's another one involved your body. What's another distraction? Not psychological, not in your head. It's something else.
Hunger?
Actually,
Regret?
hunger would work. What is hunger? It's a what inside of you. It starts with the P. No, it starts with the P. P. Yeah, like psychological hunger. It's what?
Physical?
Physical. Yeah. Physiological or physical. So if you ever hear the phrase, I have butterflies in your stomach, frog in your throat, the hunger pains, if you sweat, oh, you're military or you were military. Well, I don't know. It's army. So I don't know if you ever stand at attention.
Yeah, I did.
All right. But did you were told when you stand at attention not to lock your knees?
Yes.
Yeah, because what happens? This is not for you. This is for them. What do you think happens when you lock your knees? Yeah, you faint. Right? Yeah. So those are all internal physical noises. So anything that, and so like sweating, even though it comes out on the outside, it's created on the inside. So yeah, heating up, stuff like that. All right. So on this one, I'm gonna actually go off screen. I'm gonna go back to this one here real quick. And some of you are worried, like, oh no, he's playing with the technology again. All right. So there's this thing called model of communication, right? The way we talk to each other, there's models of communication. And so we're going to use some of the terms to create a model real quick. And we already know this is the message. Oops. Not that far. We already know that this is the message. It goes from the source to the receiver, right? Source to the receiver. Right? When the code is encoded over here and it's decoded over here, it covers two channels. That's your voice and that is your auditory. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. I got to think of the book terms. That is your auditory, and your visual, right? Your verbal and your nonverbal. And here's an important phrase. So this is what we call the public speaking model, right? When the message is only one way. But what happens if it comes back? It becomes what we call an interactive model of communication. Anytime there's anything comes back to the speaker, it's called interactive, right? And what must you need for it to be interactive? Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. This will be on the test. Feedback. You must have feedback of any type to make it interactive. I'll say it again. You must have feedback of any type for it to become an interactive model of communication. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. It will be on the test. All right. Oh, I like this. I can have this, and then this is frozen over here. I feel so special. All right. All right. All right. And then last but not least, also in hint, hint, nudge, nudge, is context. I'm going to give you the official definition of context. Context for public speaking is the environment or situation that speech occurs. Environment or situation. So right now, the context of me speaking to you is I have an online element in front of me. I have students in front of me. I'm here in a bungalow on the Southgate High School campus, but for a Southgate College, ELAC college class, right? And it's a public speaking class, not statistics, which is also happening right now over there. Right? So that's the context. And it's at night too. It's dark out there. Scary. Right? The AC is on. It's nice. It's really nice over here.
I'm scared.
This is nice. This is the suburbs. I will admit the more suburban part is on the other side of
Yeah,
here.
this is more sketchy.
No, it's fine. This street's fine. By the way, we have two sheriff
Oh, I
deputies.
saw that.
We have two sheriff's deputies in this small amount of space.
I got scared. I thought something happened.
No. They're permanently assigned. We always have two deputies. Sometimes one of them will go over to the office, which is over by Pronto Pizza, and they never bring back pizza. Jokes. All right. So that's context. Any questions on the terms? Any questions? Again, online content people, online only people, save your questions for Thursday. All right. Let's go back to the slide. Give me a moment. Go back to share. All right. So if you look up on the slide, there are some important parts to chapter 1 and 2. Most of this is chapter 1, public speaking and its history. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. The civilization that's considered the most important, most influential to public speaking is the ancient Greeks. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge is the ancient Greeks. They're considered the most influential. All right. And just to give you an idea about it, the ancient Greeks, and by the way, on the test, it would be Greeks/Romans, because the Romans did something very important for the Greeks. One, they formalized it more, and the Roman Empire was much, much bigger than the Greek Empire. And so it spread around the world more with the Romans, right? That's how the British got it. That's how the Middle Eastern and Northern Africa got it, and parts of Europe as well. So the ancient Greeks, they created the forum, rhetoric, they started philosophy, theater, all these stuff, committees, all that stuff. And then, like I said, the Romans spread it out everywhere. The Greeks kind of spread it out too, but the Romans really spread it out. So the ancient Greeks, Romans would be the most influential. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. And the Greeks are considered the most because they did the philosophy, the forums, and all that stuff. They started it all. The theater. There's a lot of other influences, and we're going to give them a shout out. On the test, the answer will be the Greeks, Romans. But other influences, we're going to give them a shout out real quick. Anyone have a hippie teacher that said you had to hold on to a stick before you can talk? Like a talking stick? Did anyone have that kind of teacher?
I had that other elementary.
Oh, yeah, that comes from African culture. A bunch of hippies took it from African culture. But tribal communication, very influential. And the two biggest influences of tribal communication are the Americas and Africa. Right? Ones where the tribal culture is still strong to this day. Okay? Aboriginal too, but I give a shout out to them. The Far East, China, Japan, especially China, Confucius, and then also Shang Tsung, with his art of war, the mantra. Anyone read the little when you were a kid, the little train that went up the hill with the I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, that train? Okay. Well, that's a mantra. I think I can, I think I can, I think I can. That actually goes back to ancient China, right? So there's a lot of other cultures as well. We got to give a shout out to the British with the Shakespeare and the Globe Theater and modern theater and presentations through there. Um, his monologues, for example. Let's see what else. There's a lot of cultures that have a heavy influence on public speaking. But the biggest one, this is not in your book, this is from me, that we don't talk about is 20th century technology. We're talking the 1900s. It started a little bit before the 1900s with the telegraph. You know, beep 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 beep. You read about that in the history books. Yeah, that thing. It started global communication. Just think about it for a second. The telephone, which started with the 1900s, early 1900s, globally started global communication, right? The radio started mass communication, right? By the way, we got to give a shout out to the World Wars because they also spread technology everywhere as well. And then you got television, and then your mass communication with visual, the nonverbals, right? That spread everywhere. And then the internet, and the internet came in, and it affected us and how we have all that stuff, but it's personalized to us. And then this stupid thing is really shaping us and how we talk. Does anyone have a friend here who talks in text? They don't say they go LOL. Oh my gosh. OMG. WTF. Who has that friend? Some of you are like, it's me. But this is affecting us. The phone is affecting us. The internet is affecting us. We talk in shorter attention span as well. So this is it. So technology is affecting our public speaking as well. All right. In your book, it talks about this, the communication process. Every communication is usually two things. One is interaction. By the way, what do we need to have interaction? What's the word? Feedback. You must have feedback for be interactive. But the other part we haven't talked about yet, and that's transaction. Every communication you have is a transaction. I'll say it again. Every communication you have is a transaction because you're exchanging things. It's not necessarily money, even though sometimes money is involved. So when you go in, does anyone here in the chat or in person, does anyone have a difficult Starbucks order? How many lines are your Starbucks order? 5? Oh, I have someone who has a 12 line Starbucks order. 12 lines. One drink, 12 lines. That was a new record. And so that's a lot of information to give over. So when that person is ordering, they want that drink done their way. And what does the other person want? They want to keep their job. They want to get paid for their job. So they make sure both sides make sure everything is correct because it's a transaction. When you ask somebody on a date, it's a transaction. I know that sounds weird, but you're trying to figure out how they feel about you. And you're trying to get that information, and they're getting information of why should I? Right? And so that's a transaction as well. Every time you communicate, it's a transaction. Okay. Last but not least, speech anxiety, confidence, and practices. Chapter 2 covers that stuff. I can't say this enough. You're in the best class if you have speech anxiety. Show a hand of the two people in front of me right now. How many of you are not a fan of public speaking? Oh, and in the chat, how many of you are not the biggest fans of public speaking?
It honestly depends for me.
Depends for you. All right.
Yes.
So that's the thing. You're actually in the best class for this because I throughout the semester, and I mostly do it in the Thursday class. We're going to cover speech anxiety in the in-person Thursday class. All right. But a lot of times it's just getting it done. Just get it done, and you're going to build your confidence. The more you do this, the more you're going to build up confidence. And to get you ready, the best way, and your book agrees with this a lot, is of course practice, practice, practice. All right. Is there any questions about anything I covered on this slide at all? Okay, we have one last activity for this class, for participation. And that is in your, we're going to save introductions for Thursday. We're going to talk real quick about a requirement for your first speech. And that is somewhere in one of your main points. And we'll talk about that more on Thursday. You need to reference a culture community reference. And what that means is something in your past, but it could be used for your present or your future that represent like a demographic. Could be ethnicity, gender, religion, but it also could be experience. That's the community side. It could be group membership. It could be like for example, in my speech, I took it down. But when I talk about my neighborhood, I talk about growing up in a rough neighborhood. Boom, that's experience. That's a what we call a community reference. I grew up in a rough neighborhood with gangs and violence, right? And so what I want you to do right now is just think to yourself, right? And same thing with you for the online only folks, is I want you to think for a second about what would be a culture community reference for you, a demographic or so forth. Usually there's a struggle there with the culture community reference. Like most of my demographics, there's no struggle. I'll be honest. Straight white dude. There's no struggle there. I don't care what Fox News says. There's no struggle being a straight white dude. It's pretty boring. It's pretty boring. But I'm a Unitarian Universalist. Not many people know about that religion. And so there's a story there. I grew up in a rough neighborhood. There's a story there. I grew up poor, social economics. There's a story there. Military life. There's a story there. So think about yourself for a second. Where's that story? And by the way, no TMI. Don't say anything that might compromise you when you give your speech. But there might be something there. So think about it for yourself. While you're doing that for the online content people, I'll give you some examples of what I'm talking about. You can use one of the boring ones if you use it in a positive way. What I mean by that is years ago, by the way, if I ever talk about a former student, I have their permission, unless it's an extreme example. So you don't have to worry about me spilling your beans later on. All right. But years ago, I had a student who was from an affluent neighborhood. It was from a poorer part of LA. I'm not gonna say which part, but there was an affluent area right off to the side of it, and they were from that part, right? And there's no struggle when you're talking about being wealthy or being, upper middle class. But the student said, "Well, as someone who comes from an affluent part, who goes to school, and most of my friends are not, I think it's my social responsibility to try to change things." There's a story there. And then I think about myself. I'm a dude, no struggle there. I don't care what Fox News says. But I have a lot of experience working with domestic violence survivors. Is one of my big issues that I work on socially. It's one of my things. I am very proud, unfortunately proud, because you wish you didn't have to do it. We wish we didn't live in that world. But as a man, I think it's my social responsibility to make it better. So you can use the boring stuff if it's some kind of story to it. So online content people, what you're going to do for your participation, the second part to get the full points is you're going to put your culture community reference that you're thinking about possibly using. Give some examples for others to look at and yourself test them out. But before you do that, let's get some of the people in here or online to share. What are some culture community reference you're thinking about using?
Hospital visits.
Like growing up, you had to go to did you have to go?
Yeah, I'm a type 1 diabetic.
What?
I'm a type 1 diabetic, so I went to hospital.
So the student disclosed medical thing. It's up to them to whether or not to disclose it. But in doing so, there's a story there, right? I'm someone who my grandmother passed away from lung cancer. So there's a story, and I was a kid when that happened. I took care of her. It was during middle school. I still remember riding my skateboard away from the senior. She lived in a senior community, and I was riding my skateboard. I remember that, right? So there you go. That's story right there. What do you have one you're thinking? By the way, immigrant, zero, first generation, uh, big family. That's another one that's popular. Do you have one you're thinking? Our family, immigrant family. All right, your first gen. Perfect, perfect. First gen and so forth. And that place, I had once, and the student gave me permission. Their parents did not want them to go to college because their zero parents were zero gen, just immigrated, and they were like, "We don't understand this whole college thing. You need to go get a job now." Right? So there's conflict there. In the Zoom, what examples do anybody?
Um, a female in the military.
There you go. And that would be your present. That you wouldn't use that in the past. You would use the present, which you can. But yeah, I will testify to that. There's not that many women in the military. I talk about the military is surprisingly diverse, except for one area, which is gender. But I remember all the different ethnicities. Lots of different religions too. But women in the military, and they got a lot. I actually, when I have a high schooler who says I want to join the military, it's a female high schooler. I'm like, here, you need to know something, and so forth. All right. Do you want to, the other person, do you want to chime in?
Yeah, so I guess I would add to the health issues as well.
Oh, anything you want to disclose or just thinking of it?
Just a couple random things. So I had asthma growing up as well.
Right.
Multiple,
And
yeah.
that might be a thing, especially if you wanted to be an athlete or something. So a lot to struggle there. So medical issues is a popular one to use when you're talking about your past. I get because a lot of people use that to talk about um, going into whatever field. A very popular one is people who grew up in a Mexican family and they don't talk about mental health. Is that an accurate statement? Yeah.
Yes.
But that's another, and African American families as well. So, yeah. So these are great examples and so forth. I hope to see everyone on Thursday. But let me, before I go, so online people, what you need to do for your thing is first off, the first part of it is that journey, past, present, future with the arrows horizontally. You know, I use neighborhood, degree, um, industry. And then the second thing is put your culture community reference that you're thinking about using. All right. To get your 10 points and so forth. All right. We're good. All right. Get that started. And your names will be on it. So you don't have to post your names in the replies, but you need to post it before you see other people's replies. All right. Let me end the recording. See you everyone on Thursday. Stop recording.